In the summer of 2012, artists Malcolm Moore and Ryan Lewis released their hit single, Groove Shop, which opened to the lyrics, pop some tags, I got $20 in my pocket, I remember hunting, looking for a come up, this is really awesome. In many ways, thrifting really is awesome. According to Urban Dictionary, thrifting is defined as when one goes to several thrift shops, secondhand shops, and vintage shops in the hopes of finding several items of clothing that are cheap and unusual. Up to my outline.
What's your thesis?
Let's Thrifting is something we can all do to spend less money, dress cooler, and explore. And as the young people we are, it's safe to say we would all want these things. I've been thrifting for as long as I can remember. As young as 5 years old, I've been through aisles of old toys, board games, video games, video cassettes, and so much more. Since my family and I didn't have a lot of money growing up, thrifting is something we always did regularly, and it's something I continue to do personally today. By learning what it has to offer, thrifting can make our lives and the world around us more pleasant. First, I will talk about how thrifting is beneficial to our lives, and then I will talk about how thrifting promotes a better world, and finally I will talk about how thrifting is an overall fun experience. To begin with, let's discuss the benefits thrifting can bring into our lives. As college students, we pay thousands of dollars in tuition, and even more if we have to pay for things like rent, gas money, and food, and etc. Based on the Cal State Hawaii website, we spend about $15,000 in tuition, $20,000 over $20,000 if we live on campus, and even more if we live out of state. And these are the prices. Because we spend so much money as it is, it's safe to say that we'd want to spend we'd want to find different ways to save money. So in effect, thrifting can help us reduce the amount of money we spend. Within the aisles of a thrift store, there are different styles of clothing, shoes, glassware, vintage records, Christmas sweaters, so much more, and things can be found at cheaper prices in comparison to newer products in a regular store. Buying brand name clothing at a mall can be pricey. However, at a thrift store, finding brand name clothes could cost only a fraction of the price. Although not all the clothing within thrift stores are name brand, looking for them throughout the aisle can be fun. Searching for them could be like a treasure hunt where the brand name clothes would be our goal. In addition, brand name clothing isn't the only valuable thing that can be found within the clothing aisles. Since clothing within thrift stores are all donated, we can assume that clothes are given from different types of people and essentially different walks of life. In the end, thrifting gives us opportunity to create a new style that's unique and for the most part wear clothes that no one else has. Finding a way to save money and still dress nice must have sounded nice, right? Well, it only gets better. Thrifting not only benefits us as people, but our community and even our environment. According to Goodwill Industries International Inc., in 2013, more than 9.8 million people benefited from Goodwill employment training, job placement services, financial education, youth mentoring, and more. Goodwill thrift stores create jobs based on how much stuff is bought in the stores, which means more jobs are created for the jobless when more is spent at these thrift stores nationwide. With that said, thrifting would not only help ourselves, but other people in need. So if you want to help out other people, thrift shopping would be the way. Although it may not seem like it, thrifting can also help the environment as well. In the US, landfills are a current environmental problem. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, Landfills are basically a place where all the trash and waste that us humans create goes to. So basically, it's like a junkyard on steroids, as you can see. With over 300 million people in the US, it is apparent that the amount of trash that has and is currently accumulating is far too vast to think about. The Environmental Protection Agency states that Americans generate about 254 million tons of trash in 2013 alone. As trash and waste continues to accumulate, the less space there is for all of it to be disposed of, which can cause environmental problems. As they continue to be filled, it gives a higher risk of the toxins in the trash to leak through the soil and eventually into the groundwater, which is a source of our drinking water that we have today. And since drinking water is a necessity of life, that's a huge concern to our race. With that in mind, thrifting can actually help reduce this problem. Because thrift stores run on donations, all the items that are sold within the store are being recycled, which decreases the amount of trash and waste that go into these landfills. So with that said, if you care about the world we live in, go thrift shopping so there'll be less trash in these landfills. Now that I've discussed how thrifting can be helpful to both the world and to us as people, I will now talk about how fun thrifting is. Honestly, walking through a thrift store is like going back in time. You can see old typewriters, video cassettes, different styles of music, Pokemon cards, different typewriters, all these old outdated electronics and stuff. Looking at these can give a sense of nostalgia and could give an insight of what life was like in the past. Doing this can be thrilling and interesting to observe, even if you don't buy anything. In the Journal of Consumer Marketing, Flora Barty and Eric Arnold state that thrifting coexists with treat, and the pursuit of treat can itself be a hedonic experience. In other words, thrifting can not only fulfill the satisfaction of spending less money, but it also serves as an experience that can be fun and enjoyable. Thrift shops can also be unpredictable. You'll be surprised with what you can find. Personally, I find some of the coolest stuff and even some of the weirdest stuff. I've managed to find a vintage Polaroid camera, old prints of famous paintings, a sewing machine from the 70s that works, and even weird stuff like an electric singing fish, a weird painting of a guy massaging a foot, and this puzzle of just of a couple, I guess, in bathing suits, I guess. And just finding these things are really fun, and it's like an adventure to find. And even if you don't want to spend money, it's just fun to look at this stuff in the thrift stores because just to have a laugh, I guess. To conclude, I have discussed why. No, that's not that. To conclude, I've discussed why everyone should thrift. Thrifting can really help us as people and our environment exist more pleasantly. Overall, thrifting can be beneficial to our lives, promote a better world, and allow us to have fun in the process of it. To close, I would like to say, if you have $20 in your pocket, go to the thrift store and pop some tags.